Mm.
So this is a new relationship. So, sir, explain fourth degree domestic violence, sir. What does that mean?
That would be the level. There's different degrees of severity, and that is in the state of Washington. So let's look at fourth degree domestic. What is it? The fourth degree what? Domestic violence? What is it?
Fourth degree domestic violence assault. The case was dropped to it. Well,
the case was see, now this is what I'm saying. Different states will have different things. In the state of Connecticut, you can't drop charges.
Oh, you cannot.
You cannot drop charge, not domestic violence or intimate partner violence. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. Is you have to proceed with that, and there would be some type of mandated. Not that she would have to be imprisoned or anything like that, but there would have to be some type of resolution. In other words, she would have to get anger management or move away from him. Right? There's got to be some type of things that go along with that. Some type of parameters. Let me see. Fourth violence assault in Washington State. Okay, let's read through this here. Let me put this on the screen here.
And please translate for us, non-justice people, sir, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Stop screen share, add screen, share screen. Sometimes you got to be careful with these laws. So I'm getting this from a law firm, Beckwith Law. So let's see here. This says if standards for assault 1, 2, 3, and 4 are not met, assault in the fourth degree will be charged. No injury needs to occur for assault 4 to be charged. In other words, there's no injury.
Okay.
So that's one of the parameters. Like assault 1 would be
got it.
That would be like a gunshot or maybe a knife stab or something like that. Assault 2, bloody nose or something like that, or maybe even a broken arm. Assault 3 is maybe that would be a bloody nose or maybe a black and blue mark. Or just simple, some type of evidence that there was a fight, ripped clothes. You'd have to read through each specific one, and again, these vary from state to state. But assault 4 is from what my reading is right here is that there were no injuries.
Okay.
The intentional contact just needs to be considered offensive by a reasonable person. So in other words, people, who are watching this will be like, yeah, they made contact and it wasn't justifiable, right? This is not two people who are lovingly hugging each other as they walk into an airport, right? Since there is often no physical violence of an assault, being wrongfully accused of assault 4 is common. Fourth degree assault is a gross misdemeanor in Washington State, and jail time ranges from 0 to 64 days with fines up to $5,000. A conviction for assault 4 will result in loss of gun rights if there is domestic violence relationship with the alleged victims. So that's a little bit about that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. But it says Coleman declined to press charges and said he did not want to be considered a victim. As a result, the case was dropped.
I'm looking to see if you can decline charges in the state of Washington. Obviously you can, but I'm curious as to why they allow that, because that was such a big push. Now things obviously rotate and go around and all that, but yeah. Can victims decline to charge the state Washington? That's a curious phenomenon to me. Where'd you read that at? Where'd you read that at?
A chat GBT.
All right, let me see what this says. This is from Alan Friedman here, because that's a curious thing here. This is from Alan Friedman here. This is a quick search that we're doing right here. And can victims of domestic violence drop the charges? And I put this in for the state of Washington. This is for 203. That's not the correct.
Okay.
I gotta
203 is us, right?
Yeah, 203 is us. Hold on a second here. Let me pause this here. All right, so this is from Snohomish Law.
I ain't gonna try to say it, so I ain't gonna try to say
it. So this is their lawsuit. What happens if an alleged victim wants to drop domestic violence charges Can an alleged victim drop domestic violence charges? Unlike other criminal charges where a victim may decline to press charges, domestic violence cases in Washington are prosecuted by the state. Once law enforcement is involved and an arrest is made, the prosecutor has full discretion on whether to proceed with the case. Yeah, so
prosecutor said don't go after it then, apparently.
They must have dropped the charges, or she must have pled or something, or maybe she's going to agree to something, or but yeah, I mean that's an interesting that was put there. So, but every state's going to be different. Listen, they got to deal with whatever they're going to deal with. But I wanted to address that. So what would be your takeaway from that incident from a man's perspective?
All right,
about this.
So really, to me, it's a form of emasculating. That's number one. And two wrongs don't make a right. So I got to find out what happened, what went down. But I would tell because right now I don't counsel couples who hit. That's a big no-no. Once I find out you hit, because I'm also a marriage counselor, I can't counsel you because hitting is not allowed because that's a form of disrespect. I'm putting you in a disrespectful point, and I'm not respecting you. So I feel liberated to put my hands on you anytime I want. And to me, that does not work. So that's a no-no. But on the other part, I got to find out what happened. Is this a trend? This is the first time? Does she have a history of being beat by men? Because that could happen to you as well. Is this a history of her seeing that as a child? So is it really did her father beat her mother? I mean, so I really got to find out the background because as a counselor, I got to dig to find out what started. As my wife says all the time, because she's a parts coach, that what's the echo? What started you feeling lax or comfortable to put your hands on somebody else?
That's an interesting point of view there. What made you feel as if it was okay?
Yeah, exactly. Because in our society, we got so many wrongs that are now being justified as all right. And this is a perfect example. All right, it's all right for me to hit him because he's bigger than me. No, it is not. But if you've been taught that, if you have a support group that says, oh, he can take a punch, absolutely not. Because if he punch you back, all of a sudden now you want to call the popo.
Yeah. So my takeaway is very much the same. Obviously, you're coming from a counselor's perspective, but yes, I think the guy in this did the exact right thing, trying to walk away. You got to walk away. And again, as I talked about, he would not have been wrong if he would have tried to restrain her. Particularly, she started throwing punches and causing some serious damage. You don't have to.
She's Ali for a while there, bro. Though she was Ali and a wrestler at the same time, man.
Yeah, that was something that this guy's got to take away. So what you brought up was an interesting point there concerning the background and history and people who grow up in these environments, right? We call it social learning in the academic field, right? That you grow up around these environments and you see your parents put their hands on each other.
Yep.
You see your big brother put his hands on his girlfriend.
Yep.
And next thing you know, whether you're a guy, you think that this is normal for your women to put your hands on you, right. Or if you're a girl, you think it's normal to put your hands on someone or to have someone put their hands on you. So we have to part of this. This is another reason why states press these charges.
And they
because they want people to get the psychological, emotional help and therapy to overcome the training and programming that they have endured from their childhood. It's not okay for you as a grown adult to become frustrated to the point where you think it's okay to put your hands on someone else. That is not an okay way in which we should be living in society. Therefore, we're going to mandate for you to go to couples counseling, to therapy, to anger management, or whatever other types of programs are out there. We're going to mandate that before you can move back in the home with this person, before we'll drop this restraining order, before we drop these charges, you are going to have to go to these types of
because it's a slippery slope if you're not careful. All right, so my hands didn't work, so let me pick up an instrument, or an instrument don't work, let me pick up a gun. So yes, it's important that people find out where is this anger coming from that you feel so implied and so free to put your hands on somebody. So that happens. But for the men, hear me loud and clear. Sometimes you can do right and still be the one looked at as as the antagonist, and that's why that man holding on to the suitcase was so powerful. Because if he had touched her in any type of way, another officer might have said, "Hey, you're the one, the aggressor." So you always got to be careful for that. Always.
You must be careful in that. I mentioned that at the top of the show there, that I've seen that so many times where where there's still the assumption that the male is the aggressor, or that you should have known better, or what is she going to do? Just little love taps. But you're supposed to be a man. You're supposed to be able to take it. This is still a common narrative that is still ingrained in far too many people in society. And police officers are members of society who have grown up with the same type of training, same type of indoctrination, and same type of socialization. Not that it's okay for the girl to hit, but that you can take it in some way, and you're less than a man if you don't sit there and take it. So we have to really fight back against this type of thing. You mentioned
and let me add that verbal offense is just as worse. When you get in the onslaught of barrages of curses and negativity, it's just as bad. So whether you're hitting or you're verbally attacking, it's still wrong, and it should not be allowed in your relationship at all.
Yeah. You mentioned two things I want to mention here. First, you mentioned the slippery slope. And again, another reason that they do this mandated training and therapy and stuff is because if you don't stop it, it'll usually escalate. It'll usually escalate. Today it's punches and pushing into the wall. Next time she'll pick up an object.
That's
and if the guy doesn't fight back or do something restrained, it just empowers someone else to continue along the same path in that violence and aggression. And this guy's really got to think about, I don't know, we probably should have looked this up if they're still together, but that's really something. If they just started dating in February, you got to get rid of this person because she's already putting her hands on you.
Now some women are so Amazonish. I know that's a man of a word. Is that they feel, hey, I can hit, but no. If now again, if you're doing a little SNL, have fun, have your safe word. But you need to put that in check real quick, because if you don't, they will continue to go down that area.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to mention is you talk about you don't counsel couples who hit.
No,
I don't deal with women who don't know how to argue fairly. And if the day,
explain that, Dr. L. Fairly. Explain that, sir. That's very good.
The day, the time, the moment that you call me out my name, the relationship is over. I am not an effing a-hole. I am not anything other than what my mother named me. I am not any of those things.
Yeah.
And I know, and I didn't grow up with my mother calling me that. I didn't grow up with my grandmother calling me that. We didn't call each other that in the household. In my household, when I was married, we didn't one thing I will say about my exes, we didn't argue that way.
Okay.
And I didn't call my kids that. They didn't call me that. They didn't call each other that.
I got
I do not tolerate that at all. That is you got one time.
Do you say that immediately on the first date, or do you say that?
I tell them that from jump. What's your deal breakers? What's your deal? What is this?
Okay.
Absolutely. You call me out my name one time. I don't even care if it's playing. If it's playing and in jest. Oh, you're such a jerk. It's over, because I know you're testing me, and it's gonna grow from there. And I don't do disrespect. I do not do disrespect. So
Dr. L, you're very passionate about this, Dr.
Yeah,
L.
because I've seen it. I've seen the psychological damage from my friends who have endured that type of environment, and they still wrestle with that in our 50s today. The things their mothers called them.
What if the woman says he's supposed to be a man, he's supposed to take her? What if a woman says that, sir?
If I'm a man, I'm supposed to take it?
Yes, sir.
She says that to me?
Yes.
Oh, it's over. The relationship's over because I want to say this right. I'm not supposed to be. Say that again.
You're very passionate about this, sir.
I'm not supposed to be anything. I am something. I am somebody.
Well, excuse me, sir.
And listen, I am not an arrogant person, but I fought too hard to overcome a lot of psychological impediments that were in my life. That's why I started my other channel, Dr. L's podcast, because I wanted to talk about some of the things that happened to me that I had to go through, and I had to do a lot of work psychologically. I had to read books, go, a lot of church, talking to you, talking to our now deceased friend Eric Williams, talking to other people about some of the things that I had grown up with, and I did a lot of work to get over this stuff, to get over a lot of things that happened to me as a child, and going and being around someone who is disrespectful, who tries to tear down my manhood, tries to tear down my personhood. Agreed. And the person who I'm sleeping with, the person who says they love me, the person who I'm eating dinner with, going to take out to the movies, and you're going to disrespect me in that way, it's over. That's the way I feel about it.
Sir, I totally in compliance of you. Respect is important for a man. And there are women out here, because of what happened to them, they feel, well, because it happened to me, I'm gonna do to somebody else. My last boyfriend disrespected me, and I've never let go of that bitterness or that pain. And so because of that, I'm going to find a new man in my life and disrespect them. Two wrongs do not make a right. And so that's a sign of bitterness that's never been exposed and healed. So sir, I agree with you, but I've never seen that passion. So you almost started turning red, sir. So I've never seen that passion before. Sir.
And that's a few shades off, right? So yeah, so that is a big deal to me, man. Because again, if you start off verbally, you'll get into emotional manipulation, emotional damage. I'll end up with complexes. You'll end up with complexes, and then who knows if it's going to turn physical. I don't deal with that. It is absolutely a red line for me, and it's over. It's over. So
I agree. And if this young lady doesn't get the counseling, then yes, I will tell that man deuces for sure. Deuces
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. You got to do what's best to protect your peace, your physical safety, and your emotional safety. That's men or women. You must do that type of work. Yes, you must do that type of work. So, yeah. All right, brother. Sir. We got to cut this one short. I appreciate you coming on. Tell us where you can find the rest of you, what you got going on there, brother.
Yes. So my website, relationshiptrainer.org. My TikTok, relationship trainer. Instagram, relationship trainer. Oh, glory to God, over 10 million views. Also our website together, faithandjusticepodcast.com. And we are here to talk about real issues. And if your college or if your fraternity or sorority wants to bring us in to talk about stuff, we'll be honored to come in to talk about these important issues that we need to face and deal with. And this is a very powerful one about the issues of hitting and domestic violence. So thank you, Dr. L, for having me, sir. I'm honored and greatly esteemed, sir.
Yes, sir. And let me finish this off by saying, yes, reach out to us. We'll certainly be glad to come on your podcast or be flued out somewhere to sit on the panel and have these deep discussions. And as you mentioned, colleges and stuff, right? What brought to my mind was this idea again of putting people who put their hands on each other and thinking that this is somehow culturally accepted, or this is part of Black culture, or yelling at each other or calling each other out their name and all that. It's not. It's part of toxic culture that we must eradicate and eliminate, and we have to do that type of work. So yes, hit us up on Faith and Justice Podcast. Hit the like button, share the podcast. Check me out on my other podcast, Dr. L's podcast, where I talk about relationships and self-improvement, and also Dr. L's Breakdown, where I break down police-related videos and anything along those lines. Hit the like button on this channel. Go to Dr. B, follow him on his social media as well. If you have any show topics, hit us up in the email, faithinjusticepodcast@gmail.com, faithinjustice@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Make sure you guys keep your hands to yourselves. Take care of yourselves. Much love and peace.
I like that. That was good.
Right.